You won't change until you have to. It's all well and good talking about all the things that we should do. We all know all the things we should do. The way we should eat, the way we should exercise, the way we should get more sleep, the way we should drink more water, the way we should do X, Y, and Z. But shoulds never really sit well with me. But when it comes to you having to do something, that is when you like the touch paper. That is when things really start moving, because you change from this kind of feeling of being obliged to do things, which has a negative connotation, which has a sense of disappointment, of failure, the fact that you should do something because you're not currently doing it. Whereas if you reframe it and it becomes something that you must do, something that you have to do, then that's where change happens. That's where change really happens. Like the number of people I've been talking to recently, and they've said time and time again, I just have to do something, Mike. I have to do something right now because enough is enough. I've been talking about it for weeks and months and years now, and I'm hitting my head against a brick wall because the same thing is happening every single year and nothing's changing. I'm feeling exactly the same. If anything, my clothes are starting to get even tighter. I'm not entirely the shape that I want to be. My fitness is nowhere near as good as I used to be because life got in the way, and I'm not setting the example to my kids that I really want to set. So, like, you won't change until you have to, okay? So then it's working out what is your reason to have to do this? Like, what is your reason to have to start making these changes? You finding what that reason is, and it's not losing weight. I can guarantee you that. Just saying I have to lose weight doesn't really inspire you. It doesn't really drive you forwards. Whereas if you get to the real nitty-gritty of the fact that maybe you have to lose weight because you want to feel a certain way, that's when it really starts to sting. That's when it really starts to kind of rub salt in the wounds and actually get you moving from just talking about it, just thinking about it, just whinging about it, just moaning about it, to doing something about it. But that first change is going to come when the things that you've been talking about wanting to do, that you should do, is when they become stuff that you have to do, that you must do, because then it's a priority. It's more than a priority. It then becomes a necessity. It becomes if I don't do it, then these painful consequences are going to happen. That is when you're really going to change. Okay, so then it's down to you to understand that you don't have to wait for that massive pain to come along. You can actually change it so that you change the timeline. You change how quickly you can change. You change how quickly you can start doing something. You have control ultimately over when you start something. And is it that you wait a little bit longer, wasting more time, money, and effort on things that don't work? Or do you start now? Do you start now because you have to do it, and the reason you have to do it is because you don't have any more time, money, or effort to waste? You don't want to waste any more of that precious stuff, all right? These three precious commodities in our life. And the main one really is time, because you never ever get more of it. You can never create more time, right? That is ticking along even as you're watching this video, and you never ever get it back. Whereas the other two, effort and money, you can create more of, whereas time you can't create. So How much longer are you willing to wait before all of these things that you've been meaning to get round to, waiting for the right time to get round to? When are you going to start doing those things? Why aren't they a have to? Why aren't they a necessity? Ask yourself that question. And are you willing to wait any longer? Because if not, that is when the shoulds and the everything that you've been wanting to do become have tos, and then things really start changing. It can literally be as quick as that, because then you start doing something. So it's about making that decision and then taking massive action and starting, and then getting into the routine of it, getting into the habit of it. Because right now, all of that is potentially alien to you. You may have had a massive break from, doing things for yourself, doing things to improve your own health and fitness. And the sooner you start, the sooner you can start making habits, creating new routines, creating new behaviors. Because your current behavior, which is, potentially been the way you have done things for the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years, in my case, if they've served you and they're doing you good and they're getting you to where you want to be and making you feel the way you want to feel, then carry on. But if they're not, and you found yourself saying time and time again, I need to do something, but you never quite do it, then look at it this way. When does it become a have to? Or has it always been a should do? Something to think about.